If there's one piece of advice I can give to anyone watching this video, it's this: stop thinking like everyone else. The mind of a high performer is not normal. It's not balanced. It's not what your guidance counselor told you to have. High performers think different. They see different. They operate on a level that regular people call crazy until they see the results. And by then, it's too late to catch up. To accomplish great things, we must not only act but also dream, not only plan but also believe. You have to be crazy enough to think that the impossible is just another Tuesday for you. High performers don't see obstacles, they see opportunities. They don't see failures, they see lessons. The way they process information in their brain is completely different from how average people think. And that's not an accident. That's by design. You want to know what separates high performers from everyone else. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not connections. It's the way they program their mind every single day. While you're sleeping in, they're already rewiring their brain. While you're watching TV, they're visualizing their next move. While you're complaining about how hard life is, they're figuring out how to make it happen anyway. The mind of a high performer never stops. It never quits. It never accepts average as an option. I was broke for most of my life. I mean really broke. The kind of broke where you can't even afford to dream because dreaming feels like a luxury you can't afford. But something happened to me when I was at my lowest point. I realized that the only thing keeping me broke was my broke mindset. My father worked his whole life and never got ahead. He worked hard. He was a good man. And poor is a mentality. It's not about the money in your bank account. It's about the thoughts in your head. High performers understand something that most people never figure out. Your thoughts create your reality. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you imagine. So if you keep imagining yourself as a failure, your brain will make you a failure. If you keep imagining yourself struggling, your brain will keep you struggling. But if you imagine yourself winning, if you see yourself succeeding, if you visualize yourself at the top, that's how the brain works. Men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. As you think, so you become. As you continue to think, so you remain. This is the oldest truth in human history. Every great teacher, every philosopher, every wise person who ever lived has said the same thing in different ways. You become what you think about. The mind of a high performer is focused on what they want, not on what they fear. They think about success so much that failure doesn't even register as a possibility. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. That's the quote that changed my life. Because it made me realize that working hard is not enough. You have to work smart. You have to build systems. You have to create leverage. High performers don't just trade their time for money. They build assets. They build businesses. They build things that work for them while they're not working. That's the difference. Poor people work for money. Rich people make money work for them. And it all starts in the mind. I used to think that being realistic was a good thing. But being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. Why would you be realistic? What's the point of being realistic? If you're going to spend your life working anyway, why not work towards something impossible? Why not work towards something that scares you? High performers are not realistic. They're delusional. They believe in things before they have any evidence that those things are possible. And that delusion is what makes them great. The superior human being keeps their mind on what they want. They stop the negative thoughts. They concentrate on excellent performance. Now, somebody will say, well, I've never done it before. How can I concentrate on excellence if I've never experienced it? Easy. In your imagination, pretend that you've already succeeded. Think about how you would act if you were already a high performer. Walk like you're successful. Talk like you're successful. Act like you're successful. And if you do that long enough, you'll actually feel the feelings of confidence that go with the behavior. Your mind can't tell the difference between practice and reality. So practice being great in your mind, and your body will follow. If you're going to create a new personal reality, you got to change your personality. That's the first step. Most people try to create a new life as the same person. It doesn't work. You can't become a millionaire with a broke person's mindset. You can't become successful with a victim's mindset. You can't become a high performer while thinking like an average person. We got to become somebody else. High performers understand this. They kill their old self. They become a new person. They leave behind the person who made excuses, and they become the person who makes things happen. There's only one thing in the whole universe over which you have complete control. That is your thoughts. You can't control the economy. You can't control what other people do. You can't control the weather, but you can control what you think about. And if you control your thoughts, you control your life. High performers are masters of their mind. They don't let random thoughts control them. They choose their thoughts carefully. They think on purpose. They direct their mental energy toward their goals. And that's why they achieve things that seem impossible to everyone else. Someone who started with nothing finally runs a big enterprise. Why not you? The mind of a high performer doesn't ask if it's possible. They ask, why not me? They see someone else succeeding, and instead of being jealous, they think, if they can do it, I can do it. High performers use other people's success as proof that their dreams are achievable. They don't hate on successful people. They study successful people. They learn from successful people. They become successful people. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill teaches that anything the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If you think about something often enough, you will come to believe it. And once you believe it, your brain will figure out how to achieve it. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is how the human mind works. High performers know this. They think about their goals constantly. They visualize their success daily. They believe in their dreams even when nobody else does. You must not wait for evidence before you believe. The evidence appears only when you first accept it as real. This is the secret that high performers know and average people don't understand. You don't see it and then believe it. You believe it and then you see it. You have to assume that your success is inevitable. You have to live like the outcome is certain. You have to act like you've already won, even when you're still losing. That's not arrogance. That's mental engineering. That's how you program your mind for success. What if you assumed right now that everything is working out for you, even when it's hard, even when there's no proof? What if you lived like the outcome was certain? That is how the greatest minds in history rose through failure, criticism, and fear. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for proof. They believed first, and the evidence showed up later. High performers have this kind of faith in themselves. They have this kind of trust in their vision, and that's why they win. Train your mind to see the good in every situation. If you have high positive expectations of yourself, you'll be astonished at what it will mean to your life. High performers don't see problems. They see opportunities to grow. They don't see setbacks. They see setups for comebacks. Their mind is always looking for the advantage in every situation, and because they're looking for it, they find it. To paint a bright future for yourself, you have to be able to see it in your mind. You have to believe in it. The mind is the most powerful thing in the world. I have studied it every day for years, and I'm telling you, if you really begin to think, if you really begin to use your mind intentionally, there is nothing you cannot accomplish. High performers don't just think more than other people. They think better. They think strategically. They think with purpose, and that makes all the difference. But if there's one piece of advice I can give to anyone, it's stay delusional, stay crazy, stay unrealistic. Because high performers understand that delusion is only delusional when you don't accomplish the goals. When you make your delusions a reality, people stop calling you crazy. They start calling you successful. They start calling you lucky. They start asking how you did it. And the answer is simple. You thought different. You believed when nobody else believed. You kept going when everyone else quit. When I had nothing, I already knew I was driving expensive cars. I already knew I was living in a nice house. I already knew I was successful. People made fun of me. People laughed at me. They said I was dreaming. They said I was delusional. And they were right. I was delusional. But my delusion became reality because I worked like it was already true. High performers do this. They visualize their success so clearly that it feels real. And then they work to make the visualization match reality. The very fact you can see it in your mind is all the proof you need to know you can get it. Everything is possible in your life when you believe. I dreamt my success so much, so clearly, so precisely, and so frequently that it manifested itself into reality. This is not magic. This is focus. This is obsession. This is what high performers do every single day. They see their goals. They think about their goals. They work toward their goals. Why not you? Why not you? You can have, do, or be anything you want. And I'm telling you right now, manifestation is real. We can have whatever it is that we choose. I don't care how big it is. It's not about the size of the dream. It's about the strength of your belief. High performers dream bigger than everyone else because they believe harder than everyone else. They're not afraid to want more. They're not afraid to go after what seems impossible. What kind of house do you want to live in? Do you want to be a millionaire? What kind of business do you want to have? Do you want more success? What do you really want? You have to have a dream if you want to make a dream come true. High performers are crystal clear about what they want. They don't say, I want to be successful. They say, I want to make $10 million in the next 3 years. They don't say, I want to be happy. They say, I want to travel to 50 countries before I turn 40. They get specific. They get detailed. And that specificity gives their mind a target to aim for. So, the question you have to ask yourself is, who am I? Where am I going? What do I want to accomplish? Everything changes when you change the way you think. Change your thinking, and you change your life. High performers start with their identity. They decide who they want to be. Then they think like that person. Then they act like that person. And eventually, they become that person. It's not fake it till you make it. It's think like who you want to be until you become who you want to be. Understand that you're no different from anyone who is living your current dream life. You're fully capable of doing it yourself. The only difference between you and them is that they decided to do it and you haven't decided yet. Or you decided but you gave up. Or you decided but you didn't believe strongly enough. High performers make the decision and then they commit to that decision no matter what happens. They burn the bridges. They remove the backup plans. They go all in. And that level of commitment changes everything. See yourself mentally. High performers spend time every day visualizing their success. They close their eyes and they see themselves winning. They see themselves signing the deal. They see themselves on stage accepting the award. They see themselves living in the house. They feel the emotions of success before they achieve success. And that emotional experience programs their brain to create that reality. The first million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. And the reason for that is this. Set a goal to become a millionaire, for what it will make of you to achieve it. Set a goal that'll make you stretch that far, for what it will make of you to achieve it. Once you become a millionaire, you can give all the money away. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valuable. High performers understand that the goal is not really about the money or the success. It's about who you have to become to achieve that goal. They're chasing growth, not just results. Every little comment, every small setback, if it all gets under your skin, you're giving away your power. The truth is the most unshakable people don't have fewer problems. They have just mastered how they react. High performers have developed mental toughness. They don't let emotions control them. They don't let other people's opinions affect them. They stay focused on their goals no matter what happens around them. They understand that external circumstances are temporary, but their mindset is forever. The brain does not know the difference between the outside world event and what you're imagining in your mind. To the brain, it's exactly the same. So sit down, relax completely, and begin to visualize the life you truly want. See yourself living it, not someday, but now. Then write it down in the present tense. I am so happy now that. Read it each day. Carry it with you, and let the idea settle into your being. Every great teacher, through history, has pointed to one truth. We become what we think about. It may seem like a fantasy at first, maybe even a lie, but if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it. Our thoughts control our feelings control our actions. High performers use this chain reaction to their advantage. They control their thoughts, which controls their feelings, which controls their actions, which controls their results. They start at the beginning of the chain. They work on their mind first, and everything else falls into place. It boils down to the idea that if you're able to conceive it and believe it, well, then you can achieve it. I've interviewed so many successful people, and they all say the same thing. I always believed I would make it. I always knew I was going to be successful. They didn't hope. They didn't wish. They knew. High performers have this inner knowing, this certainty, this absolute conviction that they will succeed, and that conviction becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was broke for the first part of my life. Then I made millions of dollars, and then I was broke again. And now I've set it up in such a way that that doesn't happen anymore. What separates middle class from wealthy people in today's world? Poor people and middle class people feel like everything's expensive because they pay for everything with money they've exchanged their time for. They feel like they're paying for everything with their life because they are. Wealthy people and high performers pay for things according to their creativity. In other words, we create an offer to pay for everything we buy. So, everything costs the same amount. High performers think in terms of value creation, not time trading. If you will say before you go to sleep, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me tomorrow, and if you'll say when you get up in the morning, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me today, and if all day long you say, I believe something wonderful is going to happen to me, you'll find that as you go to sleep the next night, you will not be able to think of all the wonderful things that happen to you. You'll just be surprised that your life becomes a series of really positive, happy experiences. Parking spaces will open up, friends will call, you'll get checks in the mail. Your life will be a series of positive experiences because you programmed your mind to look for them. I remember when I started my journey, I would wake up super early, I would get ready, and I would stand in front of the mirror and I would say these crazy affirmations. I'm a high performer. I'm successful. I'm wealthy. I'm making a difference. And it sounds crazy at first, but then if you repeat those things over and over and over again, you're going to eventually just start taking actions that kind of confirm those things. And then eventually you kind of turn into that person that you want to be. But it all starts with being delusional enough to understand that you are capable of doing it, and delusional enough that you will make it happen. You are what you think about. Everything that you think about, you become. You become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behaviors. Behaviors lead to lifestyle. Lifestyle determines your destiny. So everything begins in the mind. If you can control and wield your mind, you can very much determine your destiny. Broke people and successful people are both self-made, but only the rich and successful will admit it. They're the only ones that will admit it. The person that's broke, that's struggling, it's hard for them to admit that they are there because of the way that they think. Control your mind and control your future. High performers take full responsibility for their results. They never blame. They never make excuses. They look in the mirror and they ask, what do I need to change about myself to get different results? If you want something, write it down right now on a piece of paper. Because your mind will get for you what you want, but you have to feed it a vision of what you're looking for. High performers are clear about their goals. They write them down. They review them daily. They stay focused on what they want. They don't get distracted by what other people are doing. They stay in their lane. They work on their craft, and they trust the process. It's not okay to work your life away, but it is okay to work your 20s and your 30s away. You should push yourself beyond your limits of tolerance in your 20s to find out where it is. You have the capacity to bounce back from it. You can take bigger risks and move back in with your parents if you need to. How much can you work? How disciplined can you become? Can you work 12 hours a day? Can you work 8 hours a day? Where's your limit? High performers test themselves. They push their boundaries. They want to know what they're capable of. And they're willing to sacrifice comfort in the short term for success in the long term. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. See, great minds can see into the future. Average minds can't see beyond the present, and small minds stay stuck in the past. What idea did you discuss today? High performers think about ideas. They think about possibilities. They think about solutions. They don't waste time gossiping. They don't waste time complaining. They use their mental energy to create, not to destroy. I'm a big fan of money. I like it. I use it. I have a little. I'd like to have more. That's just the truth. The rich trust their vision and doubt their fear. The poor doubt their vision and trust their fear. High performers bet on themselves. They trust their ability to figure things out. They trust their vision more than they trust their doubts. And that trust allows them to take massive action, even when they're scared. Look around this room right now and notice everything you can see that's brown. Now, obviously you saw a lot more brown, didn't you? Why? Because you're looking for it. Open your eyes. Now, look for red. Look for red anywhere you can find red. Okay. Did you find more red this time? How come? Because you were looking for red. You will find stuff that's not even there in order to feel successful. If you think you're screwed up, you're going to find evidence, and you're going to color yourself that way. If you think you're successful, you're going to find evidence of success. Whatever you believe is self-evident. You reinforce what you believe. You found what you were looking for. High performers train their brain to look for opportunities, not problems. They look for solutions, not excuses. And because they're looking for success, they find it. Now, fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. But all there will ever be is what's happening here and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. They move toward what they want, not away from what they fear, and that makes all the difference. One of the core secrets of success is this: the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time, positive or negative. If you want to get rid of a negative thought, the mind is not like a vacuum. It doesn't stay empty. If you want to get rid of a negative thought, you have to knock it out with a positive thought. Replace anything that's holding you back. Any fear of failure, lack, poverty, rejection, loss, or anything else. The key to your success in life is to use the power of your subconscious mind to program it with thoughts, words, pictures, ideas, and feelings consistent with high performance, and keep your mind on what you desire and off of what you fear. Remember, the only thing in the world you can control is your thinking. The only thing in the world you can control are your conscious thoughts. And if you will do that, everything else will become possible for you. Why has it always come to money? Why not? Everything you got on costs money. Everything you do costs money. When you don't have money, you don't realize. Think about right now if someone grabbed your throat and squeezed it. What would you think about? The only thing in the world is oxygen, right? How do I get more air? It's free, right? But you're not thinking about it right now because it's abundant. It's not on your mind. But what you don't realize is when money is lacking in your life, it consumes all your mental energy. I would do that for my kids, but I can't. I'd love to be at every important event, but I can't. It all boils down to money. I don't care what anybody says. You have the money. You're in control of your decisions. You're in control of your calendar. High performers understand this. They don't pretend money doesn't matter. They make money so that money doesn't control their life. If you want to do anything great, it has to become your one true priority. Nobody accidentally became a high performer. Instead, they were obsessed with it for multiple years until they no longer had to think about it. It just became their baseline. It's who they were at that point. Just think about it. If you want to achieve something great, do you really think that you're going to achieve that without having your life revolve around it until you achieve it? That's why most people don't achieve anything great. They want balance. They want to take it easy. They want to have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But high performers want greatness, and greatness requires obsession. So every night when you go to bed, there's a period just after you close your eyes and you're essentially disconnected for a moment. Your brain is operating in theta. So what can you do? You can put a pair of earphones on at night. You can play a program that you want to be true in your life, and while you're awake, you might hear the program, but it's the moment you fall asleep. The conscious mind shuts off, but the subconscious mind is now in record mode. So whatever is coming through the earphones at that moment after you fall asleep, you don't hear it consciously, but the subconscious mind is hearing it and downloading it. High performers use every tool available to program their mind for success. People that are super successful are often called visionaries, and the reason is they close their eyes and they see the future. You create your future by envisioning it, by seeing it happen in your mind over and over. The body starts to respond and adjust itself to create the result. When you visualize what it is you want, it opens up your perceptual filter to let in more information. You are filtering out resources and solutions to your problems all day long. And the only reason you're filtering them out is because you've not had an image in your head that you are going to solve those problems and get those results. Once you do that, it programs this part of your brain called the reticular activating system to open up and let in more resources to let you see. You'll only see enough to match your vision. If you think you're a $100,000 a year person, you're going to see just enough to make you $100,000 a year. If you think you're $1 million a year person, you're going to see just enough to do that. Your perception is controlled by your beliefs and your goals. High performers have bigger visions, so they see bigger opportunities.